More from the ACC, more from the Big Ten on this Wednesday here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you being here for the College Football Show. And leave those comments, questions there in the chat. We have left the call-in line there as well. However, right off the top, leading us off, straight from Vegas, Minnie Hunt's here. Minnie.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. How's it going, Mark?
It's going pretty well here, but more importantly, how's it going there in Vegas for day 2?
Pretty cool. Pretty cool start to the day. We had PJ Fleck start us off. Sounded like I can see why he's a head coach, because I think we all felt motivated after his speech. One of my colleagues said, can he just stop screaming at us? He started off by saying, thank you to the Big Ten for bringing us to Las Vegas. And he's like, Viva Las Vegas, baby. And just really enjoys being here, apparently.
I love PJ.
Yeah, he is fun. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, he talked a lot about his team. And you know how he always has like themes for every year, like 3 things. Here's the 3 things that we're gonna concentrate on. He went over those. They're interesting to me because they always have keywords. Be delusional, dream big, meaning like what Indiana did last season, how they made it so far. Get to, meaning have connection and empathy for everyone around you, which I like. And then get more, because they had so many close games where it came down to the wire. And one of the things that I'm definitely taking notice of is when the Big Ten head coaches mention how important it is to have this equal playing field of everyone playing 9 conference games. So he mentioned it. And he's like, 9 conference games equals a harder league. He's not the only one who mentioned it either. So, but we'll get to that. Yeah, he's fun. I can see hanging out with him. Like, he's taken his players all over the place. They're going to the Bellagio, having prime steak dinners, just fun. And
well,
then
I was just going to say, the big argument concerning PJ Fleck has always been, is this authentic? Is this real? Is all this enthusiasm real? And as long as it is, and I have no reason to believe at this point that it isn't, because he has not in any way let off the gas for all the time that he's been at Minnesota, and even before that to Western Michigan, which he performed a miracle with them, taking them to the Cotton Bowl his last season there. I don't get the knocks on the authenticity. So that's always been the argument between people about PJ Fleck.
I totally believe it too. I believe it's authentic. I think that he believes all of this stuff. Like, he has a system every year. I mean, you see the same thing every year. He has, this is what we're working on, and it's all very like laid out, almost like an outline for the season. Then we had Northwestern's David Braun. And I mean, I don't mean to knock on him at all, but just, I was more impressed with him as an interim head coach. I was impressed with his recruiting ability as an interim head coach, walking into the situation that he did and being able to keep so many players on the team. But, losing, I guess his quarterback decided to play baseball, Jack Lausch. So now he has Preston Stone from SMU, a transfer. And he has a wide receiver transfer from the FCS. So I don't know. It just seems kind of that they have an uphill battle.
Yeah. Northwestern always has an uphill battle. Now, they've been able to climb all the way uphill several times under Pat Fitzgerald. And as you mentioned, David Braun stepped into a ridiculously difficult situation off the heels of the Pat Fitzgerald fiasco and controversy. And it's not like he had months and months to prepare. This happened right, I think, between Big Ten Media Days and the first of the season, or somewhere in that range. No, actually, shoot, I should know. I was there. David Braun was at Big Ten Media Days 2 years ago, like 4 days after he was just thrust into the head coach's role, and Pat Fitzgerald was fired. So he had to roll from there, and he went 8-5 that first season. They had a remarkable year.
Yeah, he did really great. That's what was so impressive, is that first year where he was the interim, then was made head coach. It's like, wow, this guy can really pull it together in a crisis. And yeah, I think it's been more of an uphill battle since. Just kind of shocking, because that was a major ordeal to get past.
Yes. Not a good situation. So I take it, Minnie, we're in the same spot today on Wednesday that we were when we saw you on Tuesday, that all the coaches have been on the big stage, and you've got a bit of a break here leading into the next session.
Yeah. There's I wanted to just tell you about a couple other coaches, but
sure.
There's some really cool trophies up here that I wanted to take you guys to and show you. Okay. So, Luke Fickell. I love me some Luke Fickell. Oh my gosh. So, my favorite thing about him talking today was after his speech. You know, he lays everything out. It's very cool, calm, collected. And then he has time to take one question. And the one question was, what are you going to do with such a tough schedule, basically? And he goes, thanks for being Mr. Captain Obvious. You know, he starts to lose it. He does every single time. And, you know, he just kind of starts ranting on that. I'm going to actually post that on YouTube for a short, because I think it was only like a 2-minute or minute and a half long. So that was really fun and entertaining. And then Hi Blue Wolverine. And my other favorite thing was after Dan Lanning, Oregon's head coach, was done with his speech, one of the questions was, you know, tampering with rosters. How do you feel about that? And he's like, yeah, it's wrong. It needs to stop. I mean, basically, he just said one word. I agree. Yeah, it's wrong. And everybody in the whole place was laughing, because it's just like, duh, you know? So yeah, there's that as well that people are discussing. But I would say, let's see here. Washington's head coach, Jed Fish, is fantastic. He again mentioned the 9 conference games, and we finished it off just now with Franklin. And, you know, it's funny, because I was thinking when he said this in his speech, he said, who really cares about preseason rankings? Because they're just a bunch of hoopla. And I've been really scratching my head over this, right? Because I think Nebraska has a decent chance, but we're not making it into any rankings. And I just thought, you know, the people who really don't care about preseason rankings are the ones that are in them. That's why. But, you know, he did point out the only rankings that really matter are the ones at the end of the season. So they're doing the best they can, and they will definitely be making a run for it as well. So, did you know Drew Aller was a 3-star prospect to begin with?
I can't say that I would have answered that correctly. Drew Aller out of, Medina, Ohio. I thought he was higher touted. I thought he had a higher ranking than that.
Yeah, he mentioned that. He said, Drew was only a 3-star prospect when he came in,
Hmm.
and he just worked his way up. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Well, there's something called the internet that can help us check on that. Drew Aller. Yeah, see, I'm not really understanding what. So this is telling us what I anticipated it to say. I thought maybe I was losing my mind, so I kind of pulled a punch there to say he was a 5-star, but I don't know what James Franklin's alluding to here. Drew Aller was the top-rated quarterback in Ohio, or the top-rated quarterback in the nation. He was the 3rd-rated player in the country.
That is so weird. Why would he say that?
I don't know.
Well, you know what he did? He did mention depending on which site you went to. So
well, many believe
maybe
me.
it was one particular site.
Nobody's going to have him a 3-star
I know.
and their site a 5-star. So I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to James Franklin.
Listen to that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So right behind me, this is where they're standing and doing all of those speeches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vinny's taking us on a tour. Everyone.
A nice close-up of the national
Oh,
championship
nice.
trophy. How's that?
There it is. Who won that thing last year?
Who won that thing? Mark. And the Big Ten Conference Championship.
Yes, the last 2 years. And yes, that was Oregon's last year.
I could literally just take those. Nobody would even know.
No, they would forget all about those things.
Yeah.
They're just a bother.
Yep. But that's fun. It is so fun being here.
For these side sessions that are coming up here.
Yes.
Do you have your strategy down?
I do. And I have questions already written down. So
Okay.
I'm ready to rock and roll. One thing I really liked, again, with PJ Fleck is the fact that he kept talking about his players, like really kind of interesting facts about them. Just how I can't even read my writing. Dars Taylor, the running back.
Yes, Darius Taylor. Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, how he loves cars and he wanted to reach out to, what is that? Reality Pawn Stars?
Yes.
Is that what it is? And there's a character there that he wants to meet. So, and then just Anthony Smith, how he loves to thrift, and he's like, he can put together the best $3.65 outfit. And I was just like, these are such interesting and strange facts that he's giving us. I don't know, I really like that. But one really cool thing was that Coy Parrish, defensive back, he said he's a freshman, but he's going to be playing offense, defense, and special teams. So there's a player to watch out for.
Yes, he had a heck of a first season. Absolutely. One of the best safeties probably in the country. Yeah.
Crazy. So this will be fun. I can't wait. I'm I'm not making fun of Minnesota so much anymore. I mean, they're kind of fun to make fun of. He makes it fun. But I don't know, he also makes it fun.
You're going to back off on Minnesota jokes, at least
yes.
for a while.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah.
So I got to think that some of these coaches are going to be talking at the same time during their side sessions. So who are you prioritizing?
Okay.
Who do you want to hear from the most?
Well, Luke Fickell. I can't get enough of that. He's just good entertainment. Okay, so let's see here. Now we have Dan Lanning starting off, and then at 1:30 we have Luke Fickle. No, PJ Fleck. And then Luke Fickle will be at 3:15. So it'll be fun.
All right. Very cool. Well, Minnie,
Yeah.
we will give you some time to get yourself set up. And thanks for giving us a little tour of the Big Ten championship trophies and the national championship trophy. That was cool.
Yeah, it is really neat. I know. I can't believe it's just like right here. I can go touch it.
We will see you in about 4 hours.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay? So you have yourself a good time and get some more good stuff for us. We'll see you.
I will.
Thanks, Minnie.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Minnie Hunt, of course, at Big Ten Media Days for us here at the Voice for College Football. Also, you can catch Minnie Monday and Thursday on Corn Nation. So that's going on in Vegas. And as we, of course, discussed yesterday, the ACC going at it in Charlotte. We got Miami Flo jumping on with us to talk Canes.
How's everybody doing? How you doing, man? Everything good?
Everything's good. How are you?
God is still great. So I'm good, man.
Absolutely, he is. God is good and God is great. Yes, that can't be stated enough. So Miami hit the state of North Carolina yesterday in Charlotte, and I saw that Carson Beck drove a little bit of traffic with some comments that he made. Nothing outrageous, but seems to be pretty confident about taking over the job at Miami, and he looks healthy, and we've heard reports that he is healthy. And so I guess we'll start with him. Do you think he's going to be ready for this season? And what did you hear out of Beck and the players that meant anything to you?
I just thought it was really great that he did it publicly. We're down here. You know, I live down here. I get a chance to check some things out sometimes on campus or their side practices. And I've been feeling very confident being able to see and watch, you know, and know. But when you listen, because we're college football nuts, we watch everything that happens everywhere, every conference, every team. We just need all that information. It's kind of like our food, right? So you hear like, and then the people that you become friends with are like, what's going on with Beck? Is he all right? I'm like, dude, he's slinging it. He looks, everything's fine. I mean, I don't know. And it was really, I don't know, refreshing to see him talk, you know, in a national, you know, spotlight where he oozed confidence. I literally came away, and I'm the type of person that I'm going to wait and see person, but I got to tell you, even if I was not able to be privy to some certain information, I would have walked away after listening to him like, okay, we're going to be really good this year because our quarterback seems like he's on point. But the main thing also was it felt like it was a point of emphasis. I thought, you know, the way he spoke about everything's been good. Like, the only thing I couldn't do was throw in spring, but I was there. I stayed after practice. I kept picking different receivers out to stay with after practice. I've been throwing since early May, blah, blah, blah. Just really calm. But we'll see, you know, he's got to get hit a few times when the season starts. Got to get up, got to jog off the field like nothing happened. But I thought the number one word, I actually wrote it and I have a whiteboard that I keep here. I just put confident. You know, it just looked very confident to me. Whether it's real or not, we won't know until, in my opinion, he gets hit, right? And he gets back up like nothing happened. But I thought it was 2 thumbs up if you're a Hurricane fan.
Then there's Mario Cristobal, your head coach, and the thing that's always obvious about Mario is that he's not going to tell too many jokes. You know, he takes his business pretty seriously, and it's going to be just straight and direct. Now, he may not give you much as well, but it's all going to be nuts and bolts football and football talk and no nonsense. So I haven't had a chance to go back to yesterday to hear Coach Cristobal, but what did you get from him?
I think that that's pretty accurate with him. You know, being a former offensive lineman, he's just not into. He doesn't like social media. He doesn't like the rah-rah stuff. When he first got here, I think that was just talking to people that were internal. That was the thing he was most frustrated about. That we were a big show on social media, but we couldn't do nothing on the field. And he's been a good representation of that. Like, I mean, he comes there, he looks like a Marine, doesn't he? Just stand straight up. He says the right things every time. We're gonna be tough. We're gonna be da 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 da. It's literally, you could go to 7 or 8 different interviews that he has at ACC Day, and he's saying the same thing to every single person. He just changes like 1 or 2 words, and that's it. He says the same thing every time. But he's so like that. You're right. He's just like a tunnel vision guy.
And some coaches and some just people in general are really good at that. Regardless of what they're asked, they just already know in their mind, this is what I'm going to say. These are the 5 answers that I have, and I'll just apply them to different questions and just tweak them just slightly. Maybe the first few words are going to make it sound like I'm going to answer your question, but I'm basically just going to tell you all I'm going to tell you.
That's super accurate with him. And do it like not for yourself. You're too busy, but if you guys are watching the show and you want to get a good kick and a laugh, he probably got interviewed, I don't even know how many times yesterday. I try to watch all the interviews from all the coaches, from all the conferences, right? He got asked, he answered like literally, I'm not kidding. He said the same answer 17 different ways by changing 1 word. And everyone was like, oh my God, thank you for appreciate you giving us the information. I'm like, dude, he's telling you the same thing over and over again.
So what other players from Miami made it to Charlotte?
Well, they brought up Wes. He's been there forever since Mario got there. He's a linebacker, right? Basante. They had CC, Manoa, who is projected to be one of the best tackles in the country. He's like a walking duplex. I mean, he just 6'6", 335, walks around like he's just, hello, how you doing? I'm literally Sasquatch. And Carson Beck, and then they brought in Akeem Messidor, also, who is finally healthy, which is actually, like, fingers crossed, it's a miracle, that he's been practicing and everything's going good. So, a lot of high character guys, kind of like Mario would normally do. So no one's going to say nothing dumb. All those guys are probably well scripted by the media department. Like, if they ask you this, you say that, a lot of basic stuff. I think that he looks at it as a privilege to bring these players as a representation of Miami. So you're not going to get much out of them either. They're pretty kind of like he is in a certain way. Beck actually gave you the most. He was a little more articulate when he talked, which was kind of nice. But other than that, it was just those 4, and same answers pretty much from all the guys.
So what's a good season for Miami?
On paper, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I just try to be honest all the time with it. Talent acquisition is not going to be a problem here. Depth is not going to be a problem. Size and speed is not going to be a problem here. They can pretty much line up with almost anybody in the country if you go roster to roster, maybe 1 or 2 teams. But other than that, 96% of the country, Miami can line up, and it's not going to be a roster issue. So it's exciting about that, but it's going to come down to coaching, right? Can we call the timeout at the right time? As a joke, can we take a knee when we're supposed to take a knee, right? Just things like that are where I have my question marks with my team. And if we can take that step, I think it's definitely an interesting year, because blow for blow, I don't know, other than Clemson, who we're going to look in the mirror, that's in our conference. I mean, we should be favored in every conference game.
Absolutely. That is the case. You got to think that the Notre Dame game, which I think is about a 3-point game, according to Vegas right now, Florida, and no Clemson on the schedule. So is there another game out there that might be Louisville on the road on a Friday night?
Look, we're professional at kicking ourselves in the mouth. Like, we're experts.
I think there could be other games that jump up at you, but I'm talking about the ones that Vegas thinks are going to be close.
Yeah, when I said Clemson, it's just, I guess I'm being very optimistic. I see us in playing them in the AC championship game, and I would be shocked if that wouldn't happen this year. I mean, we had no defense last year, and we still almost got there. This year, we're bringing Corey Heatherman over from Minnesota. Shout out to the Big Ten. Thank you so much. And, it looks like it's a completely different look there. On offense, really not going to miss too much. Cam Ward's generational, but Carson Beck's nothing to sneeze at. You have one of the top 3, top 4 offensive lines in the entire country. I mean, this isn't a shot at my conference, but if you coach average, you should be playing Clemson in the AC championship. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, we were talking about that on our show last week. And again, we'll be at it tonight, folks, talking with Cam Underwood, State of the U, Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. on our Miami show. But, it's just kind of hit both of us that you got to look at the coaching deficiency, not just talking about Mario Cristobal, but talking about the last umpteen coaches. When you look at Miami talent and you look at the schedule every year, and it's typically like, okay, there might be one team that's better, maybe. Like just talking about talent. One team, there might be none. There might be just 3 teams that are equal. So you split these 3 or 4 games, it should be rolling off 10-2s. If you split against who you're equal with, and sure, anybody understands getting tripped up once every 3 years against somebody, but that shouldn't happen 2 or 3 times every year. So,
I mean, you hit it on the head. If you watch any football, you'd watch a lot of the blue bloods. I consider Miami, a blue blood if you're old as I am. And the last 20 years, at least it's just been underachieving on the field over and over again, but it's not really been the rosters. It's not really been the players. I mean, we're in the ACC, and again, there's no shot at the ACC, but we're a top 2, top 3 roster every single year in the ACC. So to me, it's always been coaching. It's not, oh my God, look what happened. No, oh my God, look what happened happens too much, And this year, I feel he's tried to plug the holes up. I mean, we stay relatively healthy. And I'm not one of those optimistic guys, the Kool-Aid dudes. I fell into that trap too many times and I drowned in the Kool-Aid pool. So now I kind of take a wait and see approach, but I'm finding it really hard to be, not be playing who I think is the best team in the ACC, Clemson, at the end of the year, because we're just too deep, we're too big, we're too fast. We have a quarterback that's been there 7 million times. I mean, when you play in the SEC and you have that kind of success, regardless if you have the best players in the country, and last year when he had an off year, he didn't have the best players in the country, and they still got to the SEC championship game. So I look at it like I'm just looking at the coaches, man. I'm literally just looking at the coaches.
No doubt. Miami Flow is easy to find. It's right here on YouTube. You see it right there on the screen, so you can catch Miami Flow's work on X. You see the Twitter handle right there, and then also, again, right here on YouTube. So what needs to be worked on during August camp more than anything else?
I think even if whatever team, anybody that's watching is a fan of, you just want to get out healthy, number one, right? Relatively healthy, no major injuries. But the main thing is, does Carson look the part with everybody when some of the bullets are flying? Because I'm not very privy to how other people run their camps in fall, but Mario runs it where he lets the OC and the DC scheme against each other, like just to make it uncomfortable. So you'll know it's not like spring where everything's butterflies and flowers and fireworks. Fall, he makes it ugly. He makes it where, you get uncomfortable. And so I'm looking to see when, Corey Heatherman comes up and does a couple looks that maybe we're not used to. How do we react? Are we pointing fingers, or are we just like, okay, I'm glad I saw this at camp. Let's fix it. But yeah, just coming out healthy. I know I sound like a broken record, and you and I have known each other for a few years, but if this year they don't take the jump, I don't know what to say. I mean, I study rosters. I don't know much about anything else, but I study rosters, and this is probably the best roster we've had in, I can't remember. I mean, I'm talking all the way through, right? I'm talking the second wave, the second tier guys. Like, I don't know. So if we don't do it this year, and I might just quit and start playing pickleball. I don't know.
Well, you can do both. You can pick the pickleball and stay with the canes as well.
Right.
You could try that.
Shout out to my friend Lex. He's turning into a pickleball guy, and it's in my head now. But yeah, I mean, look, ACC week, it's exciting. I still don't know why, or I don't know if it's the Big Ten or we schedule it on the same dates. That makes no sense to me at all. Like, why do we do that? I just, it's common sense to me. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I've been watching it like crazy. Every coach says everything's great right now. The players look good. We're the greatest team. We're so excited. Camp's good. Summer's amazing. Can't wait for camp. You know the drill. You've been doing this a while. Everybody's so excited right now. Let's see what happens when the Mike Tyson comes out and someone gets punched in the face. And let's see what happens.
And you guys are going to get punched in the face, and you're also going to be throwing the punches quicker than most teams because it gets serious right out of the gate.
Right out the gate.
no Ball State warm-ups or anything like that.
No, and you know what? Full disclosure, that's one of my favorite coaches in the country. I think that guy has done an incredible job. First-class guy. Just love what he does at that program over there. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, clearly, but I have to respect what he does and how he talks and how he runs that team. So we know we're going to get the best punch from them. I'm really happy we're playing at home, to be honest. And, you know, I'm happy it's a year where I feel like, okay, we can go toe to toe. It's not like, oh no, we're starting with Notre Dame. I'm actually like, yes, bring them, because I feel like, again, if we don't do it this year, I might, things might get real ugly for me.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Appreciate you.
Hopefully we'll catch up with you soon and enjoy all the intel coming out of August camp. And obviously, again, there's no ramp up to the season. It's right out of the gate, full throttle, Notre Dame in town. Everyone will be watching.
Appreciate you, Mark, man. Take care, and I'll be in touch.
Absolutely. It's Miami Flow right here on YouTube. All right, we're going to have a Virginia report. Here's the rundown from Big Ten and ACC media days, although the ACC has to be a bit of an oddball and call theirs ACC kickoff. Same thing. The Big Ten going with Minnesota Northwestern, Oregon, Penn State, Washington, and Wisconsin today. And for the ACC, it's Florida State, Louisville, Syracuse, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest. So we've got Jackie Franchuli from 247 Sports to join us a little bit later. And also, hopefully, we hear from Mike Broadbent from the Night Rutgers Report podcast. All right, the call-in lines there in the chat. Give me a call. Let's talk college football. Anything outrageous you've heard, anything you disagree with. We will slice and dice the articles on ESPN that come from ACC and Big Ten media days. If nobody calls me, Amazon links in the description section of all the videos, including this one. When you shop on Amazon, please use the link that we provide. We will have a watch party in August. In June, it was Michigan over Ohio State in 2021. In July, it was Michigan over Alabama in the Rose Bowl in 2024. What will our choice be? Well, that's up to you. So we will post a poll here in the next few days. You can vote on your watch party of choice, and we will get together sometime in August for our watch party. The goal, the mission, the approach for the season is going to be to do a watch party each and every week, but that is up to you. If we get the kind of response that we need, we would love to get together with all of you to watch the game of the week as chosen by you during the 2025 season. I love watching the classic games, love the vintage games. However, will be nice to get that second look at what will probably be the best game of the week or the weekend, and then we'll turn it around for all of us to enjoy, unless your team lost, for all of us to enjoy a few days later. The audio from this live stream each and every day, plus everything we do live here at the Voice of College Football, is available on your favorite audio platform, as well as all the team channels. You can catch those all on your favorite audio platform as well. In the chat, No Cal Matt was at the Miami Cal game last year. What a game that was. The Canes don't want to fall behind by 3 scores against that level of competition. Cam Ward helped save them that night. He most certainly did. You don't want to get down 35-10. That usually does not work out well. All right, from media days. Remember this comment made by former Boston College, now current Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos about Alabama? Apparently, he is not backing down from comments he made this summer suggesting that Alabama did not have Nick Saban to, quote, save them in the Week 1 matchup between the two teams. Castellanos, a transfer from BC, has been a spark of confidence for a Florida State team, of course, reeling from 2-10 last year. But the commentary regarding Alabama certainly turned heads. And Castellanos said he did not regret any of it. We stand on what I said. Isn't that ironic? Our football team stands on what I said. I don't know that Thomas Castellanos checked with everyone before he made that statement, the original statement. I said what I said, and we stand on that. I don't mean no disrespect to none of the guys at Bama or anything like that. I have confidence in my guys and the work we've been putting in and preparing and the preparation we've been putting together. Absolutely. However, I do believe everyone's working. I do believe everyone's lifting weights and running and watching film across the country. That's all that was. No disrespect to those guys, but we stand on what I said. And then at SEC Media Days, there were a number of Alabama players, including wide receiver Isaiah Horton for Bama, saying, quote, y'all boys going to see what happens when the Tide travels to Tallahassee for their opener. All right. I think just about all of us have a pretty strong lean on what will happen in that game. Yes, we also have this coming in from Big Ten Media Days. Oregon coach Dan Lanning is advocating for college football to adopt an NFL-style schedule with limited open weeks, no long layoffs for playoff teams, and a season that wraps up on January 1st. Lanning told ESPN on Wednesday that you'd love the rust to be knocked off when you step on the field for college football playoff games. Oregon won the Big Ten in 2024 and was the only FBS team to finish the regular season undefeated. Of course, they would have won the Big Ten championship game somewhere around December 5th against Penn State and then had to wait almost a month to play Ohio State, and they got trounced. Oregon and the three teams receiving byes all lost. They were all underdogs as well. Now, the teams they played, of course, played not in the conference championship games, although, yes, none of them played in the conference championship games. Well, Arizona State, Texas. Anyway, Ohio State and Notre Dame, neither one of those teams that made the national championship game played conference championship game weekend, but they played December 20th and 21st. So Oregon was off about 25 days leading into the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. And of course, the Buckeyes were off about 10 days. I'd be in favor of creating our playoff system to mirror every other playoff system in sports. The season's over and the playoffs start shortly after. The long break is something I'm not crazy about. I wish we played every single Saturday in college football. I wish college football ended January 1st. So quite a statement by one Dan Lanning. All right, we keep it moving here, the voice of college football. We got Jackie Franchuli stopping by from Wahoo 247 Sports. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's been a while. How have you been?
It's been good, but once these media days start going off, that means football season just around the corner. So kind of excited just to stop talking about it and seeing some football again, right?
Yeah, for most of the fans, it's not quite football season, but for the media types, this is pretty much sound the alarm. This is it. It's full go from here on in because it's straight from media days to August camp. What was the overriding theme for Tony Elliott and the Virginia Cavaliers?
Yeah, so I just got back home from Charlotte for ACC Media Days, where Virginia was there on the first day. And the big story around UVA, obviously, is that over about 50% of their roster is new faces because they brought in about 31 transfers from the portal, but they also brought in over 20 athletes, high school athletes. Over 50 players are going to be new in a roster that's just a little over 100 players. You know, if you asked me about 5-6 years ago if that was ever going to be possible in this college football world, I would say that's lunacy. But I mean, this is where we are in the landscape. So for Virginia's, how are you going to assimilate and kind of put these guys on the field together? How are you going to try to create a game plan for them with 13 of these guys coming in after the spring? So you didn't really have an opportunity to see them on the field in the spring to see how you can work that defense. A lot of them are coming in from the secondary, which is a big question for UVA. So those are the type of things that was discussed at ACC Kickoff, because that is one of the biggest storylines for UVA, and obviously trying to find success, right? This is Tony Elliott's coming into the program. He hasn't really found success yet. I know there's been some circumstances off the field that occurred, but now this is a time to show this is your roster. What can you do with it?
Yeah, and one thing that obviously catches everyone's attention is Chandler Morris is a guy that's kicked around quite a bit in college football, including stops at SMU, TCU, and he's played quite a bit. Of course, Virginia in recent years has had, I don't want to say an unstable quarterback situation. They've had guys that have competed and rarely had a clear number one guy. You know, Tony Muskett, Anthony Calandria have battled a few years, but now Chandler Morris seems to be the guy. Was he there at Media Days?
Yes, Chandler Morris was there at Media Day. So we got the opportunity to talk to him, and he's been at Virginia since January. Actually, no, Virginia kind of said we wanted one experienced guy, one young guy in the portal, which is quite an ask, right? When you're going to the portal, guys aren't usually getting to a new team and staying on the bench, but that's exactly what they were able to get with Chandler Morris and Daniel Kalen, the two quarterbacks that signed for Virginia. And they got Chandler Morris, who's very experienced. Obviously, he's played a lot of football. He was a very productive guy at North Texas. He had experience at TCU prior to his injury on that national championship running team that went all the way to the national title game. He was part of that, and he was actually won the battle prior to his injury. So he's got a good pedigree. Obviously, his dad, Coach Morris, is connected to Tony Elliott through Clemson. So there's a familiarity there as well. So that's how they got a little bit connected there. So Chandler Morris has been saying that he's very confident in this team. And that's kind of like the talk you expect at ACC Kickoff type of events, is that confidence there. But, you know, talking to him, and I was able to sit down with him for a 10-minute interview, he said the biggest thing right now is learning the playbook. When he got there in the spring, he was still trying to learn the playbook, and you still had a lot of guys who trying to get to know each other. So this offseason, they really tried to really form the bond of these new players together, a lot of them coming on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Virginia really built out the trenches, and also the wide receiver group has gotten several new pieces. So just trying to get the chemistry between these guys. The one thing he did mention is that Virginia has an identity, which is something that I know we've talked about, that Virginia's offense lacked that identity. The team lacked that identity. But Chandler Morris was saying that, no, we're going to be physical. We're going to be a physical ball club. We're going to be explosive. We have a lot of good targets like Jamal Edrin, like Trell Harris. We have more options now than we've had in previous years. So that's what his big focus. And when you have a guy that knows football, grew up around football, that is certainly something you need when you're in this new world of college football, when you have so many transfers coming in.
So, Jackie, when somebody who's unfamiliar with Virginia football turns them on for the first time early in the season, who are a couple guys on each side of the ball that they can kind of latch onto that should be impact players?
Sure. So obviously on the offensive side, you're going to look at Chandler Morris, who's the projected starting quarterback. And then on the offensive line, it's a whole new group almost. Apart from Mikhail Boley and Noah Josie, the other guys are expected to be newcomers on the starting line, including their center, Brady Wilson. So that's a good guy to know as well. And as far as skill players, I mean, we just discussed the wide receiver room had a lot of guys come in. One of them is Jamal Edrin, a very physical wideout, lengthy, very, very strong guy. And I think that's going to be one of the guys to maybe watch out for as a breakout season. You also have Trell Harris, who was a breakout guy on my list last year prior to his injury. And I think he has the ability to stretch the field. So he's a wide receiver to watch out for as well. Then you had Cam Ross and Jaden Thomas, 2 other wide receiver transfers. Cam Ross will probably be a guy that you can see in the slot. So he's someone, and probably on special teams as well as a returner. So that's a name to know as well. And kind of returner guys too. You have Dakota Tweedy, who moved from wide receiver to tight end last year. He's really worked on his body weight and his muscle mass, worked on being a tight end. So he'll be the tight end to watch there. And also a freshman to watch on the offensive side is Josiah Abdullah, a guy who had offers from Miami, from Ole Miss, a lot of big-time offers, but chose to come to Virginia after seeing Malik Washington's success a few years back, who's now in the NFL. So you have a couple of guys on that offense to really look out for. And then on defense, I mean, it's a whole new defense. I mean, last year we talked about how the veterans were leading this defense. This year you have a lot of newcomers. When you look at that defensive line, apart from Jameer Carter and Jason Hammond and Anthony Britton, you have newcomers to watch out for, like Fisher Kamek, a guy from UNLV who's coming off the edge, as well as Mitchell Milton, a transfer from Ohio State, fresh off winning the national title in Ohio State. He came to Virginia and transferred. So you have a lot of options on the defensive line, a lot of depth, which Virginia has not had in previous times. In the secondary, I would say Donovan Platt, a Army cornerback, has kind of raised some eyebrows a little bit during his first couple weeks at Virginia. He's a late comer. He came in the summer, and a couple of guys told me during ACC kickoff that he has been really showing off and how quickly he's able to assimilate into the program. And obviously you have Cam Robinson. You have those guys who have had already had some national highlight on them. Antonio Clary, a safety that had quite an incredible start to the season last year prior to his ACL injury, is back for another year of eligibility. So he's also another name to watch. So it's right now we're still waiting on some other names to watch, maybe like Devin Neal and Emmanuel Carnley, those guys who are transfers there. But there are some guys there where I'm curious to see how they fit on the field together.
This team won 5 games last year. Obviously, they want to get to 6. Is that pretty much the demarcation of a successful season? What are the expectations?
A bowl is the expectation. And I want to say more than 6 wins is what people would like when you look at the schedule. Obviously, college football is so weird right now that I could say that the schedule looks favorable for Virginia, but we really don't know when you look across the board at all these different transfers. I mean, can you really say that some games will be easier or hard without knowing how these transfers are all going to work together? No one really knows, right? We can have expectations of what they might look like, but right now on paper, it looks like this is a favorable schedule for Virginia, where they only have 2 games that they require a flight. They go at Cal and at Louisville. The rest of their road games are at Raleigh, at Chapel Hill, and I believe at Duke. So you've got only North Carolina road games, where everyone else, including Florida State and Virginia Tech, are at home. So that's a very good schedule for Virginia, and they have a bye week right before their rivalry game against Virginia Tech. So on paper, this is a good schedule for Virginia. And when they have the talent and how much they were used, their new donations that they're able to use for NIL going to the portal, the expectation is a little bit higher. I think they want a bowl game, obviously, but I think 7-8 wins is what really I think some people behind the scenes would like to see.
Jackie Franchuli here to break down the Virginia Cavaliers, coming off 5-7, looking to do much better and get to postseason play for the first time in a while. You can catch Jackie's work. You see the X handle right there, but it's also Wahoo's 247 Sports. Jackie, appreciate you stopping by, breaking down UVA for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. The report on the Virginia Cavaliers. We talked, of course, the entire Big Ten slate with Minnie Hunt, who's going to join us as well tonight. So here's the deal. We've got the Miami show, 7 p.m. Eastern time, as we typically do every Wednesday. Then we also have the On the Move show that is headed your way typically at 8:30 Wednesday night. We're going to jump on a little bit early because Minnie's going to be back at the conclusion of Big Ten Media Days. So we'll jump on here about 8:15 Eastern and get the scoop from Minnie, and then break right into On the Move with Leanne Herring and her breakdown of the latest on the recruiting trail as we take your comments and your questions and your calls, of course, here at the Voice of College Football. All right. Well, that should wrap it up for another The College Football Show on a Wednesday. We are doing our best to catch up with everybody that's hit the podium and try to get those media guests in here. So we are in contact with a bunch of ACC and Big Ten media guests that we will have on the line here in the next couple days. Again, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Cam Underwood and myself on Miami football. We'll be back here a few minutes after 8 Eastern for On the Move, but a Big Ten Media Day report with Minnie to top off the show. See you then. There we go. I see David here asking about playoff predictions. This is the intent. This is what we plan on doing. The week of week 0. We're all going to get together for a big live stream. We're going to go through the entire schedule. I'm going to predict every game, start to finish. We're going to start week 0. We're just going to pick them off one by one and see where it takes us to the conclusion of the regular season. Look at the records, mark off the playoff teams, and then start playing the playoffs. And we're just going to go through every game the entire season. You guys can make your predictions. Of course, I want to see your picks there in the chat, but I am going to predict the season. Now, we've also put our prediction videos out there. We've done about 30 teams, 35 teams, so I would not expect my predictions to land too far outside what we've already predicted there, although something could happen in August camp to lean me in one direction or the other and potentially change my mind about a game or two. So that's the intent. We will do that the week of week 0. See you tonight at 7 Eastern, Miami channel, back here at a few minutes after 8 Eastern for On the Move and a Big Ten report from Vegas and from Minnie Hunt.